Hello there fellow humans and welcome to this video, and today we're going to look at something special in World of Tanks Blitz. Today we're going to look at the Polish tanks in World of Tanks Blitz. Now, first of all, I want to say I'm not very interested in leak videos, and I'm also not very interested in uploading illegal replays of French heavy tanks like the man with the FV215B183 in his intro. Now, got that covered. First of all, I don't know anything. This is speculation, okay? Keep that in mind. So, what do we have in World of Tanks Blitz? We do have the Vickers Mark F, which is Finnish for some reason, and we have the 10 TP and the 14 TP. They're both Polish vehicles. Now, what do we have next? We have the Swedish Go on the STRV M42. And now the new Swedish branch came in and they cut off right here. It came right in at the STRV M42. Because previously all you had is the Italian medium tanks. So, if we follow a clue here, that when there's Swedish tanks in the branch, there's gonna be top tier Swedish tanks going off from it, then that's gonna be the same case for the Polish tanks, right? It might be, because there are top tier Polish heavy tanks, and also top tier Polish medium tanks. For that, we have to switch game though, and it's not World of Tanks Blitz, it's the big brother, World of Tanks PC. Magic cut. Now, we're here in World of Tanks PC, and the first difference always is the Projector 65 has one more shell in the auto reloader, but that's not the thing what we're going to talk about here. So we're going to look into the tech tree, and generally, if you look at the tech tree of World of Tanks PC, you can sort of imagine what's going to come next to Blitz. So, now we can clearly see right here. There's the 10 TP, there's the 14 TP, right here. Now, the difference is, as you've probably already seen, that the 10 TP is a tier 2 tank in World of Tanks Blitz, and the 14 TP is a tier 3 tank. So basically the line cuts off right here. With these two tanks right here. So, now we have two top tier tanks in World of Tanks PC. That is on one side the 60 TP, a heavy tank with pretty much an E100 gun. Like, it's sort of a very, very, very fat Object 140 with an E100 gun. That's what it is. And then we have the CS63, which is, well, it's, if you look at it, it's kind of a Polish version of the Soviet medium tanks, and it has a special mode that is a turbo engine that can pretty much prepare it around like a light tank. What I think is that this tank's not going to come into Blitz because this mode just doesn't really suit Blitz. It's just like the STRV, it doesn't really fit in with the small maps. Because if you have this speed, then youch. But what would fit quite well would be the 60 TP into Blitz. This vehicle, right here. Now, if you look at this text tree of the 60 TP, we can already see these two similarities, but they're obviously they're pushed down one tier. So, what can we expect? This entire line right here might be copied into Blitz, and what they maybe do, maybe they take this one, maybe they take this vehicle, make it a tier 5, and make the 25 TP a tier 4 tank, for example. That's what Blitz could do, because Blitz is an independent game, and they don't rely on World of Tanks PC to do this stuff. Like, for example, in Blitz, you have the T92 at T9 before the Sheridan, and here what that is, they moved up the T49 and moved up the Bulldog and introduced the T171 CMCD. So Blitz and World of Tanks PC are completely different games. So I can imagine what they did here is they put in these two Polish tanks on purpose, because, for example, they could have put in low-tier Swedish tanks. They could have put in low-tier Italian tanks for the Progetto line, which was the first one in the European Czech tree. Or they could have even put in the Czech low tiers. But they didn't. They put in Polish low tiers. And I think the reason is that one day we're going to see the 60 TP in World of Tanks Blitz. But obviously, that's just speculation. But with that line, those two low-tier Polish tech tree tanks, and with like the Kronwang line, which by the way is a great tank in World of Tanks PC. It's a lot more mobile and it has 3000 DPM. the Kronwagen in PC is absolutely amazing. In Blitz, not so much. It has the same armor, it is faster, and it has 1,000 more DPM, and it's not overpowered. What does that say? But anyway, that's the topic here. With like the Swedish line, they had the Kronwagen line, that the STLV-72, and they put that onto the others that were already there, that then previously led onto the Progetto. So they just clamped that to the back of that line. So if you follow that logic, next onto the European tech tree is going to be the Polish tanks. But I don't think that the Polish tanks will be next after the Kronwagen. I think we're probably... what I would like to see is obviously the TVP. I would love to see the TVP in Blitz, because that thing's amazing. Or what is more realistic, probably something like a T100 LT, maybe a Object 277 or something in that sort. I'm convinced that these two Polish tanks in the European tech tree and Blitz are there for a reason, and that reason is that this tech tree will be introduced to Blitz at some point, maybe sometime around next year. But anyway, that's just a speculation, and yeah, it would be boring to just end it here, so let's play a battle in the 60 TP and sort of show you what it is all about. So now we're here in the battle, and we are on Mines, a map that also exists in World of Tanks Blitz, but obviously in World of Tanks PC, maps are 4 times as big and teams are twice as big. Also, a slight difference between Blitz and World of Tanks PC is that the alpha damage of these 150mm guns, or in this case 152.4mm guns, is not 640, it is 750. So we have to keep that in mind, and what's probably going to happen if this tank comes to Blitz, it's going to get 640 like the others, and it's going to have around 13 to 14 seconds, I would assume. Because, as you can see already, the mobility, it is okay. It's on the lower end of the heavy tanks, like for example, you see that 113 just zooming away. So it's not the fastest of heavy tanks, but it's not mouse slow. It has a well-rounded Soviet-style turret, and well, artillery doesn't exist in Blitz, and thank God for that. And the armor overall is very good, and yeah, that's a Super Conqueror. So also it does have, I think, 7 degrees of gun depression, which is really good for a tank this big. And this makes you like be able to work a ridgeline like this, even though I can't pen the Super Conqueror, because the problem of this tank is the penetration is quite weak. Penetration is quite weak, as you can see, at 250mm on the AP and only 317 on the premium map. Because I'm gonna have to pull back here, but you can pretty much see what this tank's made for. This is like a big fat Russian medium with a massive alpha damage. Boom. The thing is, the turret, this is an artillery hit right here, so it doesn't really matter. Obviously the lower plate is very, very weak, as you can see right here. But the upper plate is angled nicely, but you have this like massive driver's hatch right here that you have to always watch out for. So the armor, it's okay. So it's sort of like a mediocre man of all things, basically. It doesn't have the best armor, it doesn't have the best mobility, and it doesn't have the best gun, but it can do everything reasonably well, which is pretty much what you want in a tank. So if this tank comes to Blitz, if it will be just a sort of downscaled version of it in Blitz, or if it will be a completely different tank, we don't know that. But I think this tank will end up in Blitz eventually, and it would sure bring something new to World of Tanks Blitz, because now you have like the VK-72, you have the E-100 with the high alpha guns, but they're really slow, big, heavy tanks. You don't really have a combination of a Soviet heavy tank basically with a German heavy tank gun. And yeah, that was pretty much a Blitz roll right there. So this is what it's gonna do to enemy tanks, basically. So I hope this thing comes to Blitz. I hope that I'm right with the prediction that they're gonna add the Polish line just after they model the Swedish line, and it will most likely be this one. And yeah, I hope it comes. It's a great tank, and it is, I think, one of my top 3 that I want to see in Blitz from World Tanks PC. First one, obviously, is the TVP T5051. Amazing vehicle. The second one would probably be the T100LT, because it's just a really great medium tank, and well, medium, it's a light tank, but it has medium tank armor basically, and it has a very low alpha gun. It's not the most accurate, but I think it would fit in Blitz quite well, because it's really fast. Like, it's pretty much an RU-251 kind of mobility with Object 140 armor. So I think it would also fit in Blitz really well, and it would sort of counteract the slowdown of gameplay that is happening at the moment with the Kranvang and all the text droids, because the Kranvang slows down the game a lot. Because it camps a lot, it holds up a lot. So if you put in the T100LT, it would slow up the game a lot again. And that's that way really great. But anyway, that's the 60 TP. Might come to Blitz in the future. I wouldn't expect it to be the next one, but in maybe the third or fourth next tank to be introduced to Blitz. And that would be really cool. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.